Hello there. This is just a quick video update to talk about some of the progress I've made in the last couple of months with this game that I'm developing at the moment called Spy-O-Ramas. Um, yeah, the way I'm describing this game for people who haven't seen it before is that it's kind of a exploration puzzle game set in these fairly small but detailed, charming environments um, where the player studies everything that's happening. You can freely move around and sort of go into any part of the level that's accessible. And yeah, you kind of study what's happening and then basically solve puzzles and complete little mini games, that sort of thing. And one of the there's a few inspirations behind this project, but one of the main ones, sorry, is the Where's Wally books. I was a big fan of those as a kid. The fact that you'd have these super detailed illustrations with thousands of characters and a ton of stuff going on, and you could spot so many things outside of finding Wally and the other main characters. You could spot just tons of funny little things that were happening. Similarly with Richard Scarry books, Busy Town stories. It was a similar thing where you'd have these big 2-page spreads where you'd have loads of different vehicles and characters all interacting. So going back to kind of Where's Wally, the way that the gameplay is structured in Spy-O-Ramas is that in each of these levels you'll have a ton of individual objectives that are split into categories. So at the moment, if you open up the little tab menu, you have a list of all these objectives that you can complete. And they're not all hooked up currently, but about half of them are. So you can see the idea I have, and I'm going to set things playing in a second, and you can see the sort of main action going through the scene. But the idea with each of these dioramas is that there'll be sort of like a main plot going on, which is generally some kind of chase, police chasing after bad guys who've stolen something, basically, and they'll be going through various environments. Ooh. Yeah, and that will kind of always be happening. Different vehicles, different things having been stolen, different scenarios, different settings, but that will be the sort of main action that's kind of moving at pace through the scene. And then, in addition to completing all the objectives that are related to that one, you'll also have incidental things, whether that's mini games or things that you need to spot, or there's quite a lot of sort of photo objectives that you have to work out what the clue is relating to and then take a picture of it. So that's how the player finds out what they need to do in each scenario, basically. And some of them will be recurring. Some of them will be sort of running jokes in between levels, like the busker. There's a secondary objective here that says pay the busker, and there's 10 of these coins hidden at various places in the environment. And when you complete that, say you manage to find one of those and put them in the hat in this level, then when you go to the next level, he'll have upgraded. He'll have gotten an extra instrument. He'll have a harmonica or cymbals on his knees or a bass drum on his back, that sort of thing. But yeah, there'll also be a lot of just kind of one-off little interactables, little mini games and stuff that I'll show in a second. So anyway, that's how the objectives work. And then you can see that I've had the action paused for the entire time while I've been explaining that. But the way that the action works within this environment is that everything is on rails, essentially. And you can pause it at any time, you can rewind it, or move it in slow-mo forward as well. Sorry, you can rewind it, you can fast forward it. And you can hear like that the sound is being affected at the same time as all of the action as well. So there's a fun little extra touch. So yeah, so the action within the environment is running on a 60-second loop, and when you can see the timer at the top there ticking around, and when it gets back to the top, it just resets, and the action all begins again. So yeah, like you can use that to, obviously, you know, with the slow-mo, you can really study a particular part. Like maybe there's a situation where things are moving really quick and you need to slow it down to an exact moment in order to be able to solve a puzzle or take a picture that satisfies an objective. Yeah, also it's just, you know, it's being able to fast forward it means that, or rewind it means that you can sort of, you know, if there's a particular point in the timeline you need to get to, that you can get there quickly rather than having to wait for it to come around again. So yeah, that's the objectives covered and kind of how you manipulate the timeline. So I think now I'm just gonna start completing some of these objectives, and you can get a sense of how the gameplay actually works. Let's see, what should we do first? I mean, pay the busker is pretty straightforward. Oh, I should say as well, there's like, you know, there's going to be like little interiors where, you know, where there's a opportunity to let you go inside and kind of explore some smaller scale environments. I should say as well with the art, I should have said this previously, obviously there's a bunch of characters here who are currently just cutouts. These are character concepts at the moment, just stuck on Alfred quads. So these will eventually be, you know, fully 3D characters like this one. But yeah, currently I've only had the time to actually model out 3 or 4 characters, as you can see. So yeah, let's do this objective first. And I should say as well, another thing about the timeline is that when you're in anything other than playback, if you're paused or in slow motion or you're rewinding, fast forwarding, you see this chunk. So yeah, this one thing that I was pretty happy with is that everything is synced up. So, you know, the effects as well. It's not 100%, I've got to say. Like my programming for the timeline stuff is a bit shaky. So that's one of the first things that I want to do after I've finished on this prototype version, is to get that as solid as possible. And effectively, it is just a replay system, and there are, you know, several examples of assets that do that pretty solidly well on the asset store. So I just need to probably pick one or get some programming help to write something specifically that's suited to this game and that I can, you know, implement and then interact with, or, you know, script with, basically. So yeah, when you're paused, you can't actually interact with anything. Like there's no, you know, there's no highlight prompts. So you can take pictures when you're in this mode. So if you're looking to, yeah, get a photo at an exact moment, then you can do that. But everything else, all of the interactions, like if it's a mini game or picking things up, opening and closing doors, that sort of thing, you have to be. Sorry, I'll move away from the move away from the noise. You have to be in playback mode to do anything like that, which keeps it hopefully understandable and, you know, yeah, avoids like confusing situations where you're like pause but you start playing a mini game. Anyway, I'm gonna find all these coins now. Obviously I know, or hopefully I know and can remember where I put them all. But yeah, this is, you know, a sort of typical objective. This one's a bit tricky to find. You know, a player would see that, the objective here is pay the busker, and currently I've got 2 out of 10. So yeah, you know, there's a lot of objectives like this one where it's basically, you know, being observant in the environment and finding things and then either taking a picture of them or picking them up and taking them where they need to go. Ooh. Where else? I'm trying to remember where I put them all. What? Out of 10? So I'll grab that one. I know there's one up here in the gutter. And yeah, you can, there are sort of bounding boxes on the environment, you know. And another thing, I'm not 100% set on this particular visual treatment, but, you know, one thing I'm experimenting with is this idea of having a sort of, almost like a fog gate or something like that, where you can clearly see what's part of the, you know, play space and what's outside of it. Right, coins, subject to coins. Oh, we did that one. Where else? Where else? Oh yeah, there's one here. 7. Eight. Right, 2 more. Let's think. Where are those 2? Oh yeah, I know where 1 is. And yeah, hopefully, you know. Oh yeah. So let me just put this one down. It's something else I wanted to mention. So yeah, hopefully, you know, these various objectives where you have to move around the scene and be observant and notice little details. One thing I wanted to say is that I'm making it a sort of requirement that any interaction that you make within the scene has to directly relate to one objective or another. So there shouldn't be any, you know, interactions just for the sake of it. So if you're able to pick something up, then it's usable as a solution to a puzzle or as part of finishing an objective. Like, there shouldn't just be stuff there for the sake of it, I think in that way, you know, it sort of keeps players, like if players have got a billion things that they can interact with, like that can be fun, just being able to press things to see what they do. But at the same time, I think that's sometimes the problem with like old school, you know, adventure games, say like old point and click games, is that you would end up with, you know, 50 things in your inventory and you know, 20 locations and 10 objects in those locations that potentially could have an object used on them. And I want to try and avoid that like choice paralysis for players. I think, you know, some of the puzzles are going to be more obscure than others. I think it's fair for there to be a sort of difficulty range when it comes to, you know, which of these players solve immediately and which ones take a little bit longer. But yeah, I don't want there to be, you know, so many options in any individual diorama that the player is maybe a bit overwhelmed. You know, I'm thinking that each one of these levels would maybe give somewhere between 30 minutes and an hour of gameplay, if you know, and that's probably you know, ambitious actually. Even 30 minutes, I think, per diorama would be, you know, a decent chunk of time. And I think if you're like, you know, if you've got like 30, 40, 50 things to complete, which is, I think, is feasible for one of these play spaces, I think that should hopefully keep you busy for a little while. Right, remembered where it was. Yes, I'd seen it up on the roof and then completely missed it. There we go, so you can see now, oh, hasn't updated to 10 out of 10, great. But yeah, there's a tick by it. So we've completed that objective. And we can see the next one is wash all the dirty windows. So we'll do that one now. And this one is, you know, time sensitive, so you've got 40 seconds to complete it. So I'm thinking that a lot of these, like, yeah, these very, like, simple little mini games, hopefully still fun though, and require the player to, you know, look around the environment to see what they need to do. Let's have another look, see what else we've got. Yeah, none of the primary objectives are hooked up yet, so this is just all of the stuff there in the notepad is currently just, you know, a flavour of what those interactions, those objectives will be like. Fix the TV reception. So yeah, so, you know, this isn't really a adventure game, but I did like the idea of having the ability to pick up and hold onto an item and use it somewhere else in the environment. So you don't have an inventory, you can only ever have one object on you at a time. But yeah, that you could pick something up and then think about where that might be used. Actually, if we go and have a look here, let me just drop this for a second. That's not the sound effect it should make, but basically we can see, like, there's a bear in this room, and he's not looking too happy. And if we go up on the roof, and I don't know, hopefully players will be able to figure something like this out. You can see that there's no antenna on top of the aerial there. Go and grab that. Fix that, and then just line this up. We can interact with it and see that we're somewhere here. Oh, there we go. Oh, this is. There we go. Fix the TV reception. Done. Now, related to that, I haven't really talked about the photo mode yet, but you can see that one of the photo objectives is so far so good, and this is so far so good. So hopefully, if we take a picture of that. Oh, wait, that's one from another one. There we go. Whoops. So yeah, that's actually part of, you go into the photos, hidden henchmals. So there's 10 of those little robber looking guys hidden around the scene. So yeah, another list of things to spot basically. So yeah, we can move around and find a few of those now. The other thing to say is that, you know, you can work on these objectives concurrently, obviously. One in there. So you don't have to, you know, finish, you don't have to, like, accept one mission and finish it before you can move on to the next one. You can do all this stuff. You know, whenever you find a new one of these, say, you can go and take a picture of it. And also to say that, yeah, so that we picked up the aerial and we put it on the roof and we fixed the TV. And then, as a result of that, that bear character moved to another position, and that allowed us to complete that photo objective as a result. So there will be that, you know, chain reaction effect where completing one thing will allow you to then complete something else. Right, let's find the rest of these hidden moles. I remember. Oh, there's one over here. You see a silhouette. 6 out of 10. Where else? Yeah, there's one here. I know that there's one in the back of the vehicle. I'm trying to remember where the other ones are. Have I done this one up on the... Yeah, I did that one. Did I do this one? Yeah. Oh, here's one. Here's one. And it's maybe the trickiest one of all to find. Oh wait, rewind it. The back of the van. There, so we finished that objective. What else? What else can we do? So yeah, I'll go through and maybe do all of the remaining photo objectives in a bit. Actually, I'll do one of them because it kind of shows the use of the time controls in terms of pinpointing an exact moment. So if you watch this... Hang on, just pause it a sec. If you watch what happens with this bird, this pigeon that's on the ground here. Gets scared, takes off, and then discharges something in flight. You can see that it comes down and lands on this frog character. There's no reaction animation or anything yet. Like, this is all... I've got to say, like, a lot of these interactions are still placeholder at the moment. A lot of it, you know, this is the first working prototype, and it's been a case of experimenting and just, like, trying things out. So, as much as I like a lot of these interactions, and I think that they probably will stay for the, you know, finished version of this scene, you know, the situation in which they happen and, like, what happens, the kind of chain reactions that might happen as a result of these things is still to be decided. So I imagine if this is something that happens to this character, then there will be a reaction to it, not just standing there. But if we look, there is a photo objective in the menu called Bombed by a Bird. And yeah, we can go through in slow motion and get the exact moment where it looks good, and then... But obviously, you know, if we did it too early or too late, then we would miss it. There's another one right here as well that's time, or sort of, you know, requires you to take the photo at the exact right moment. Which is... where is it? Copper takes a break. So again, you need to have, you know, the way that the detection works for this. You know, you need to have both the police car and this billboard in frame for you to get the objective. You can see as well, this animation is just kind of my first attempt at baking out a disruption animation, so I can, you know, do a better job with this. But you know, it's all keyframed or in the same way as you can see. Actually, the timing's a bit off, so it starts to get destroyed before the car even makes it there at the moment. But when I've done a better version of this, it will be synced up properly. But yeah, it's cool to see that, you know, that works with the timeline slow-mo stuff in the same way that everything else does, and you know, it's kind of fun thing to interact with. Okay, so the last main thing I wanted to talk about was, yeah, I guess a more involved chain of puzzles, or sort of, yeah, a little chain reaction that is maybe a little more closely connected with like old school point and click adventure games, which I am a fan of, always been a fan of. So at the moment in this chip shop, this is Dougie's chip shop, and you can see, oh, that's not actually paused. I need to remember to add that to the time controls. But you can see that Doug, whoever Doug is, I guess it's Dougie, has all of the top scores. And you can interact with the deep fat fryer here, but currently, if you try and open it, if there was something that you wanted to fry, maybe if there was a objective that talked about frying, time fries perhaps, like maybe you need to put something in the deep fat fryer. Currently, you can't do it because Dougie's right there. Imagine him being like a full animated character, and he's actually, you know, slamming that back down when you try and open it. But we can actually go over and play this game. And this is just a placeholder. It's actually a free project that I found. need to have the rest of the audio dip when you come and use this, which it currently doesn't. But so as a result of me beating the high score, Dougie comes out and he will now try and get the high score again, which means that I can now open this up, and this is one of the more obscure, ridiculous puzzles in the game right now, but if you pick up the clock, put it in the deep fat fryer, you win! Why you would want to do that, who knows? But I'm hoping that, you know, having like clues, you know, actual sort of cryptic clues, or even just, you know, straightforward things like over directions for the player, you know, by having that will hopefully still require the player to work out what they need to do and how to do it, but, you know, doesn't leave them just like floundering around with no idea. Like if there was no checklist, then and you had to discover everything for yourself, then it would be a pretty frustrating game to play, I think. Oh yeah, so this is one of the kind of recurring photo objectives, is these like little smiley faces hidden in the scene. And it works like, you know, like the hidden characters as well. I mean, this one is pretty tiny, so some of them will be you know, easy to find, and some of them would be more difficult. Obviously, I know hopefully where they all are. I'll just fly around and do all of those. Tick that off. What else have we got to do? So those are all of the secondary objectives that are currently hooked up. And what have we got left? Okay. I might as well. This is, you know, the bulk of what is playable in the level so far. You know, I've already done most of it, but I'll just zoom through and do the last few photo objectives. Strong skip opinion, number 1. And then strong skip opinion number 2. High wire 5. And the last one is petrified police. And you should probably see the context for this. Let's just fast forward through back to the beginning and watch watch what happens with this guy. So he's walking along, gets scared, runs off, cowers there by police. So that is kind of it in a nutshell. That is yeah, what I've been working on the past few months. There's some issues with some of the time manipulation stuff. It's not perfect by any means, but I hope that what is there is a good, taster of how the finished game might play, how it might feel to play it. I've not had anybody test this yet, mainly because the time stuff can get out of sync, because it's not very accurate right now. Like, the next thing I want to do is get that working, as solidly as possible, and then can be confident that that won't be an issue for players. So because nobody else has played it so far, I don't know how hard or difficult these puzzles are, how frustrating, or broken they might be. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Thank you for sticking through this video. If you did all the way through, apologies. I might try and edit it down because it's yeah, it's like half an hour. That's quite long. But it goes to show there's a fair amount of gameplay in that because I knew where everything was and I could go to it straight away, and it still took that amount of time. Yeah, that's it. Maybe just have a look at the car chase again in like slow motion. I'm pretty happy with like the squash and stretch, how that is synced up with the time stuff as well. So yeah, cheers for watching.